Hello, empowered woman. Welcome to this episode of the Empowered Woman podcast. Today, I will be sharing some of my reflections following my recent trip to Brazil with a heavy emphasis on gratitude and what that means. Do you ever wonder, what is gratitude anyway? And how do I actually know I'm practicing it? That's what I'll be talking about. And I will also announce something super exciting that I'm working on for April. Get ready. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Empowered Woman podcast, the number one show on personal growth, visibility, and profit for women entrepreneurs. If you're wanting to start believing in yourself, giving yourself permission to succeed, and let your voice be heard to make an impact in the world as an entrepreneur, this is the place for you. I am so glad that you're here. My name is martaspirk, and I'm your host, triplet mom, woman empowerment coach, and all things motivation extraordinaire. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode. All right, my friends, I am back in American soil. My last episode I actually recorded in Brazil in my mom's home, and I didn't want to share a whole lot while I was there because I know it's crazy times, with the pandemic and travel and all of that, and also because I wanted to make sure and enjoy the most that I could with my family. It was the very first time that we went back to Brazil, all of us, so I did. For those of you who don't know, my kids were born in Brazil. My husband's American, I'm Brazilian. I lived in Brazil my entire freaking life. And at 23, I married my American husband, moved to the U.S., and I lived here in the U.S. in Denver, Colorado for a little over 3 years. And then we decided to move to Brazil. My parents were like, oh my gosh, you need to try living here. Let's see how it goes, because they were missing me terribly. If you come from a Latin family, you know how it goes. Very tight-knit culture. And my sister actually married an American and moved to the U.S. too. So all of a sudden, my parents found themselves with an empty nest pretty soon. I think after maybe 2 or 3 years, after I left, my sister got married and left as well. So the opportunity came, we moved, and while we were living in Brazil, I got pregnant with triplets, and I had the babies down there. And we were wanting to move back, but we were thinking once they're school age or something, we didn't have any plans of moving back with babies. But one thing led to the other. One of the main reasons we decided to move back so early on when the babies were 9 months old was because my father-in-law was terminal with cancer. And so we moved back so that we would get the chance to spend some time with him and so that he could meet his first grandkids. And sure enough, after 4 months of us being here, he passed. And it's going to be, 4 years? 4 years. It's been 4 years. He actually passed in February of 2017. So I hadn't gone back to Brazil after we moved until 2019. Then my grandma, my last living grandparent, was she was 91 and she wasn't doing very well. It was just a matter of time. We all knew it. And with me being gone for over 3 years, it just so happened that I was able to sneak away for a week in 2019, and I went by myself. It was an amazing opportunity to just, go without the kids and have a little bit of a break. But the kids had never gone to Brazil. They were born there and they had never gone, which they were so small they wouldn't have understood. But now with them being 5, it was just such an amazing experience to be able to take them on the airplane and to know that they were understanding what was going on. And we decided to go, for one, because my parents haven't been able to come to the U.S. Usually they come twice a year to visit both me and my sister, with them having, all their grandkids out of the country. And the last time they came was in February of 2020, right before everything got shut down. They usually come in the summer, weren't able to. We were thinking they would be able to come this February, and last minute, it didn't work out because they would either need the vaccine or to be quarantined in Mexico for 2 weeks, which was not really feasible for two elderly people, in their 60s, and my dad is 71. So it was kind of sad. We were thinking, man, we should meet in Mexico. And then with my husband breaking his collarbone and going through surgery, he's been off work. He can't work. He's now slowly being able to, foreseeing some stuff, more like supervising, not doing a whole lot of physical labor, which is what he's very used to as an electrician. And so it was the perfect opportunity because the kids are not back in school. Like there was nothing holding us back from going except really just the trip itself, which is, very exhausting. It's almost a 24-hour trip. We have to take 2 flights and with triplets, 3 5-year-olds, and just, the complications of pandemic, of potentially getting sick or whatever. There were so many factors involved, but at the end of the day, we decided we're going to go. We're going to go and we're going to stay at my mom's house and we're going to limit contact as much as possible and stay safe. And you are required to take a COVID test to go and to come back. So we did all the things that we needed to do. In fact, they were going through kind of a rough spell in the numbers of COVID-19 in Brazil. So they were in somewhat of a lockdown at the time. And we weren't sure, what are we going to do? How is this going to work? And this is where the focus and the emphasis of this episode comes in. Gratitude, right? We could have been bummed out that we wanted to go to the beach. We wanted to, see people, visit. And I know lots of people were so anxious to be able to see the kids, not that they're older and all they see is pictures on social media, but we weren't able to. But it was just such a relaxing time because we didn't have to coordinate visits or, plan where we're going to go, what we're going to do. We literally stayed at my mom's house for 10 days. I did meet on a very limited basis with a few close friends. And what's nice is that it's summertime down there, so the kids had a blast in my mom's swimming pool. That's all they did. Every single day, they would go in the water and they would get out of the water to play a little, eat lunch, go back in the water, and then by nighttime they were exhausted. And we had lots of help. It was almost like being in a resort because, for those of you who don't know, Brazil has a very has a culture of having maids and having help at the house. And so we didn't have to worry about food. We didn't have to worry about cleaning, doing laundry, any of that. It really felt like we were at a resort. And it was just amazing. It was an amazing time of relaxing, for me and my husband, to having somebody else and other people to look after the kids so we could, take a nap or just rest. And I am so grateful and blessed that we were able to do that. It was kind of like a reset after such a crazy year that 2020 was. And also a moment for me, to be together with my parents, to see each other. Because for a while there, with all the craziness of 2020, it was like, will I ever even see my parents again? What if they close the borders forever? Like those things crossed my mind with being an expat, And I know lots of people that are in the same situation too. And so I'm very, very extremely blessed. But what I wanted to share with you in terms of gratitude is that oftentimes I have wondered in my personal growth journey when people say, I am successful now because I've been practicing gratitude. And I remember early on when I started with Beachbody, with network marketing, I would see the most successful coaches and entrepreneurs in the company talking about how gratitude had had such a great impact in their growth. And to me, it was like, okay, but tell me, show me, what is it exactly that you do? Do you write things down? Do you repeat it throughout your day? How does this exactly work so that I can do it too, and so that I can see change and growth in my life and in my business? And with time, and I think especially through this trip, because it was just like the epitome of gratitude for how everything, the stars aligned and everything came together for us to go, I realized that gratitude is not something monumental. It's really the little things day to day. It's celebrating the small wins. And it goes hand in hand with what I said last week in my episode of if you're faithful in little, you will be faithful in more. If you can be trusted with little, you will be able to be trusted with more. And that's the basis of gratitude, is if you're able to be grateful for the little things, it all compounds and you're able to gain more things. And the reason why I started thinking about gratitude in that way is because when we left Brazil, it wasn't just because of my father-in-law. It was a tough situation, kind of like a strained relationship with my parents. If you have kids, you know how tough it is, and especially how intense with multiples. of having family want to help, but want to help in a very specific way. And then you have your own ideas of how you want to care for your kids. And with my parents being so hands-on, it was tough. And it's almost like we needed that space. So we left Brazil in not so very good terms with my parents. And living away kind of facilitated our healing process, if you will. And to be able to have all of us go and stay at my parents' house, it was a long road. It was a long journey. And that's why it took almost 5 years. And so this gets me thinking about, whenever you see somebody successful, that's all you see. You don't see the tears, the sweat, the blood, right? That's for you to find out, or it's for that person to cherish and to be grateful for. And then when I look back 5 years ago when I left Brazil, and the small steps, the small wins, the little things to be grateful for that took us to where we were able to go back to Brazil, that's what it's all about. It's not about just coming here and celebrating, wow, I was able to go. It's really me going back and looking at the small little steps of the reconciliation that happened between us and my parents and my family in Brazil that took these 5 years. And I mean, there's still a road ahead, but it doesn't happen overnight. And while I am such an advocate for saying things don't have to take forever, and I hate when people say it just takes time, the time is not really the point. The point is, what are you doing every day? What are we doing with your time? And that's what dictates how long it's going to take, if that makes any sense. So really my goal here with talking about gratitude on this episode is to invite you to think about what gratitude means to you and to reflect, are you really practicing it? How do you know when you're practicing it? And I actually shared a little bit more on social media on this, of course, and saying that for me, what I realized that gratitude is, don't overcomplicate it. It's literally focusing on the little wins, making the best of any situation, literally reminding yourself of how good you have it. Because if you look hard enough, you're going to find reasons of how blessed you are. And I actually asked some of my clients their perspective on this, what gratitude means to them. And I think sometimes hearing other people describe what it means to them can give you some insight on what it means to you and help with the reflection process. And Eugenia Gomez, who's an amazing empowerment coach. She's based in Luxembourg, but she's actually from Spain. She said, I feel it in my heart. And when I'm conscious of it happening, I consciously extend the vibration outside of my body into the world. And I love that answer so much because I think most of our lives and the majority of our days, we spend in our heads, right? We don't really focus on what we're feeling and acknowledging our feelings and processing our feelings. And so when she said, I feel it in my heart, and then I extend it into the world, when are you taking time to actually feel gratitude in your heart? And it's when we slow down, right? So I love that answer. And one of my other clients, Kristen Boyle, who is an amazing yoga instructor and coach, said, true gratitude doesn't begin until you practice being grateful for the hard things in life. It's easy to say, I'm grateful for my house, my health, my family. I absolutely love that too. And it's really, the little things. And the little things is especially throughout those hard times. And then for me, thinking about the last 5 years, all the heartache, all the trouble that we've gone through with having this somewhat of a conflict with my parents, being able to see them, being able to have them come over from time to time has been great. Even though it was through a period of turmoil, I'm grateful that we've built up our relationship to the point that we were all able to go and visit. And so this is really my reflection in terms of gratitude. And I would love to hear from you if this resonates with you. Let me know. Shoot me a message on social media or send me an email, martaspirk@gmail.com, and let me know what gratitude means to you and if this is helpful for you right now. And then on to some exciting news and announcements. So for the month of April, I've decided to dedicate to helping you have better conversations on social media. So I talk a lot about content creation, and I believe that's the first step to qualify and to create quality conversations and to attract quality clients. But then what do you do when you're having that DM conversation? You know, how do you position yourself to be a resource, to be of service, and to then have people naturally gravitate towards your offers and want to invest in you without being pushy? And this is something that I have been learning in the last few months. I actually took a challenge early December, so last year, with one of my mentors. His name is Miles Toots. He is based in Switzerland. And I just love how international his business is. It's nice to kind of walk away from the bubble of all, you know, American, Canadian coaches and be in touch with somebody that is super international and has clients from all over the world, Greece, Italy, just South Africa, all kinds of different places. He has such a varied community. And I participated in a challenge of his called the Power Hour Challenge, which is you focusing at least 1 hour a day in your business to connect, to create meaningful conversations and relationships so that you're not just posting and commenting or just, again, doing that self-serving stuff. So it really goes hand in hand with my content creation philosophy, but it's a step further into those individual conversations. And so he does this challenge every other month where he does lots of trainings, lots of hands-on training, and also encouraging you with accountability to practice this 1 hour of truly dedicating your time to connecting with people in a meaningful and intentional way. And I was so in love with the challenge that I decided to partner up with him for his next edition that's happening in April, starting April 19th. And I'm going to be one of the conversation coaches inside the challenge. So I'm going to be having my own little pod where I'm going to be coaching whoever joins my pod within the program and helping these people, men and women, really increase their volume of opportunities by having more conversations and really having that control over the relationships that you're building, which will give you control over your income and over your profit every single month. And so I am so excited to share more about this. I will be doing some trainings on this to talk a little bit more about the process and the method that he teaches. But obviously the end goal is to have you join us for the challenge. So if you're interested in something like this, it's a 10-day challenge where you get hands-on training and accountability. In a group, we're capping it at around 100, 120 people total. And each conversation coach is going to have around 20 people in their pods so that we can really give you individualized attention and support. I'll be giving more information on social media, but I have already interviewed Miles. So next week, I'm releasing this interview so you can get to know him a little bit more and what he's all about. He has an amazing story. It was just, I already knew him for a couple years, so I already knew he's just this such a cool guy with such a big heart. But then when he shared his story and I got to know some of the details, it's just really confirmed why I am so excited to be partnering up with him and to be a part of his team with this project, with this challenge. So if you're interested in having more quality conversations and really learning how to quote unquote be human in your conversations instead of being the salesy, sleazy, pushy person that just drops links in people's inboxes hoping that they will buy from you, then this challenge is for you. It's the real deal. It really is the real deal. And I'm so passionate about it, especially for me coming from network marketing. There's a lot of trauma. And I like to even say there's a lot of even PTSD, I think, for me, with not wanting to reach out to people and what are they going to think? Am I being annoying? And it's a task that I have avoided for a long time, but it's a task that is needed if you are an online business owner, especially if you don't have a team to be doing outreach for you and you are the face of your business and you need to be doing that kind of task. So yeah, I'm super excited about it. It's called the Facebook Power Hour Challenge. It's starting April 19th. If you want more information, let me know and I will send it your way. But just stay tuned to my social media, obviously, and stay tuned to the podcast because next week I will be publishing and releasing the interview with Miles himself, where he's going to talk about why he's doing this and why he truly believes in this philosophy and this methodology of helping people have control over their conversations on social media. And of course, you can use it in any platform. You can use it at Instagram and LinkedIn and even face-to-face and even on Zoom. in whatever, platform and capacity. It's just really learning this skill of being yourself, being authentic, and being a resource so that you can then share your gifts and share your services and offers so that people will be interested in investing naturally, organically, not because you're being pushy or hammering guilt, right? I talked about it a few episodes ago. Not driving sales over guilt, but really over empowerment. And so that's what I'm all about, and I'm super excited about this. Of course, today is just the beginning of the month. I'll be sharing more throughout, but yeah, stay tuned, and if you're interested, just let me know. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in today. As usual, I hope this was helpful. Are you feeling more grateful? Are you inspired to look for gratitude and feel gratitude in your heart every single day for the little wins and making the best of every situation? And also, don't forget about the Power Hour Challenge. I'll be sharing more information soon, but if this really caught your attention, and you're interested in more information, reach out to me. I'll be sharing more in the coming days. Until next time, bye.